Now we will talk about the right hand. Again, starting from the position of the right hand, you can see from the different angles that we will be switching to demonstrate this. What I want you to see is that I'm having a, I will just pull a little bit my sleeve back. My wrist is slightly elevated. I put my fingers on the strings, thumb on the 6th, IMA on the first 3. That's the position that I use. Lots of people use flat wrist. Some use even lower. But my feeling is that when I use a little bit higher wrist, I get a more projective tone. And that is because I feel that the transfer of the energy, transfer of the bigger muscles that I use when I think of producing the tone, that is using my whole arm and even my shoulder, even my back plays a role. Remember when I showed you about the position, how the whole guitar becomes part of the body. So my whole arm is like an instrument that transfers the weight onto the strings, so I'm pushing inside of my guitar, and when I pluck, the finger becomes like just a trigger of that energy, and not, I would say, not a producer of that energy, not the one that is responsible to bring that tone, because if it's lower and if I only play with a finger, it's too weak. I'm feeling that my whole finger is really bringing this whole weight down of my arm, and I can press very strongly, and you can feel that, like if you are to lean onto something with your hand and you're pushing it away, and push it with your body, not just with your fingers or with your hand, just feel that your whole body is pushing through your fingers into that point. So the same thing is with my guitar. When I press my fingers onto the strings, I really feel like I'm pressing it with my whole arm, and I get this, like very big transfer of the energy. So now let's train the fingers a little bit. Let's start just with the I fingers, so let's anchor them all, and we can just slowly try. One finger at a time. And what is important is that you see that the energy, I will exaggerate a little bit more here, the energy of the finger goes inside. Don't think that you have to pluck the string and that the finger goes outwards. You see this? Then you are pulling the strings away. Then you are losing that transfer of the energy. So it goes inside. And if you start using staccato, then what this does is it stops the finger from traveling too further in and making it too big of a movement. You still can play very, very loud, engage the string. You can see how strongly I can push way much than I need, but engage it strongly, don't hit it. If you're hitting another string like this, that means that the whole arm is sitting too much back. So you push it more forward. You see this? You push it more forward so it clears the string above, and this is what you get. So I finger plays a little bit. It can start also with a little bit of a staccato. And that's how you return the finger quickly to the string. Then M finger, keep them all on. Or again staccato. It's quite hard with the M finger because it's in the middle of I and A, but then when you release other fingers, let's say you leave the thumb but release these ones, then it becomes easier. When they are all anchored, it's harder, but it lets it behave better later on. It kind of sets its trajectory. And then the A finger, again, I'm trying to engage the string, I'm trying to feel really how I'm pushing harder in. There we are. When they work together, you can really see when they work together how this action, how from this point, from this joint here, the fingers go in. You see? Not outwards. They are not pushing outwards. If I put my finger here, you see how they separate. This is it. Thumb sits on the string, transfer the weight of my arm onto the strings, and I'm feeling like I'm just using the thumb as a little trigger for the whole energy that comes all the way from my shoulder and even from my back onto the guitar. You can, of course, play faster and fingers are more engaged. The whole movement becomes from here, like when you're doing a fist. If you try that, just doing a fist and do it very short, still maintaining this space in your hand. This is basically what I use. Okay? You can see it with the thumb. There we go. Now, simple exercises that will lead to progressively playing faster and playing with less effort on with the right hand. So let's start with something very, very simple. I like to use speed bursts. So I do use the following: 4 eighth notes followed by 4 16 notes. Again, let's start very slowly. In this instance, we will start with I and M combination. So that's the pattern. It's 2 times the same pattern if we can think about it as a 3 quarter notes rhythm. So there will be 4 eighth notes followed by 4 16 notes. In total 3 quarter notes. Again. I just repeat it twice. Repeat the same thing on each string. And now let's add something else before we proceed on another string, is that what we will do with the eighth notes, we will plant the following finger, so when the I finger plays, the M finger comes down, M finger plays, I comes down. That produces a staccato, but that's the result of it. The actual reason for doing is to prepare the next finger that has to play on its place before it needs to. So it's almost like I have an analogy of driving a nail into a wooden plank. So you take your hammer and you just slowly tap it a little bit until you know where it has to go, and then you can apply a full force and go from far. So the same thing here is like with this staccato, and in a slow, you're just telling your fingers this is where you have to be before you pluck. So that they don't pluck so much from far away and there's too big of a trajectory. You see this? And they come from far away. They really have to be close to the string before they execute the pluck. So this preparation brings them to that point. We will never use that in actual performance. This is just for a practice purpose. So once again, we will start with the 4th, 8th notes, staccato, followed by a speed burst for 16 notes. We'll repeat that pattern twice, and then we go on to the next string. So here we go. So this is one cycle. I just went through one cycle. Again, 4 8th note staccato, followed by a burst. Not doing it staccato, letting the fingers loose. Repeat the same pattern on the same string. And then we go on to next string, etc. Up and down, all 6 strings, 2 times the pattern on each string, going down and going back to the first string. Now I have started with the I finger and using only I and M. It is very important, and I emphasize this because I see otherwise happening with quite a number of students, that they would start with one finger, but in the middle of the pattern it would switch. So the M would be the starting finger. So be very consistent. Again, take it very slowly if necessary. Not if necessary, excuse me about that. Very necessary, use the metronome. So let's try to do the same with the metronome. Again, I'll put a 60. So probably it was going to be slower than what I did before. So here's 60. Making sure I finger is the starting one. If we are working on an I and M combination, etc., then you have completed that once. Let's say on the 60, increase the speed, go to 63, 66, 69, etc. In the metronome scale, there are always these increments you will have to learn either by 3 or by 4, later on by 6 when it gets very fast. And in the slow increments, work your speed up. I will speed up faster. I'll go to 76 at this instance. Push forward. 80. 88. 92. 96. 100. 104. 108. 112. 116. 120. 126. 132. Oh, I cannot talk and play in the same speed at this speed. 138. 144. Becomes harder. So now it's up to 144 on the metronome. I ran it very quickly. Now this is going to this exercise, you will increase the speed only if you complete the full run from the first to the sixth and back at one speed, then increase it more. Don't work on the speed too soon. This is way too much crunched. In this period of time I went from 60 to 144. I want you to go from a 60 to 100 in the 10-minute or 15-minute run. Then eventually you will feel that the 60 is too slow speed for you to start. Move it and start at 70. Move your speed to 120. Start at 80. Move it to 132, etc. So your starting point has to be comfortable. I'm emphasizing lots of people who will be watching this will start at a very, very slow speed. Again, the speed that will allow you to do all this correctly. And I very often talk about the speed of speech, in which you can say to your fingers, please play staccato one after another. Don't go fast into speed of thought where you want to play it too fast, too soon. You want to play it fast but inaccurately, not with all the things in place, then everything is falling apart. Very slow in the beginning with a metronome and very accurately. So now we have worked I and M. All combinations in the right hand will work. You have worked Y and M, next day switch it to M and I. Or work one run I and M, switch the speed on the metronome, start with M, I. Etc. This is MI, right? IA. Switch back to AI, etc. MA are quite slow combination. Hard. But nevertheless, worth pursuing, worth working. Just to make these fingers more agile, M and A, that will help the other combination if it is IM or if it is IA. Also, you can bring the thumb into the game and play also with the thumb. And you can also, let's say, do PI. Now, I'll switch to PM. Use PA. Etc. So all these combinations will, in the same way, excuse me, that we worked on the left hand, and we have aligned the left hand to the proper positions. All these exercises are helping align the right hand, come in a position from where every finger, no matter if we are switching the strings and switching the fingers up and down, in this instance with the thumb, or these fingers are going up and down, the arm is helping the fingers work from this position, working the way up and down from the first to the string to the sixth, but still plucking in the same manner without doing anything strange and causing the stress to the fingers and to the hand and making it impossible. You know how we can get those glitches and tension in the fingers, and the things just don't work. So everything has to feel relaxed in a way that it doesn't feel uncomfortable, that it doesn't produce a certain movements of the, on the face, on the lips, on the tongue. You know how often we can find ourselves doing that. Everything has to feel relaxed. The whole body is relaxed. The only movement is happening here in the hand, kind of supported with these big muscles from the back, the whole arm. And you can play very loud. PI, PM, PA, IA, IM, etc. So I use these bursts, speed bursts, as a building blocks for the right hand. We'll go on to talk about more things and how we can use those bursts to develop the scales and develop the arpeggios, etc. So once again, to summarize, bursts very slowly using the metronome. Speed is not an important issue at the beginning. It's actually your enemy. Start very slow and build up slowly, knowing that at every moment you are doing something that is correct. If you are doing something incorrectly and you just want to play fast, you will learn to play fast incorrectly and will never feel comfortable.